Hello friends and welcome to Sustainable Prepping, your home for fear-free emergency preparedness and a sustainable life. My name is Brecky and today I want to give you some of my best recommendations for staying grounded in the midst of a crisis. If you're new here, I want to say a great big welcome. I am really glad you have found my little slice of the internet. We are almost to 1,000 subscribers and I am so excited. If you're not new here, I want to say welcome back. It is because of you that I keep making videos and sharing fear-free emergency preparedness content. Friends, don't forget to like and subscribe this video and please share it with a friend who will find it useful. Okay, today we're talking about something a little bit more esoteric than I normally cover, and that is how to stay grounded in the midst of a crisis. As I am filming this, we are all on pins and needles watching what's going to happen in Ukraine and what Russia is going to do and whether or not this is going to devolve into a larger global conflict. So I know that a lot of people are panicking. So I am here with some of my very top recommendations for creating a practice of grounding and centering so that you can remain calm and confident in any crisis. Those of you who've been around the channel know that I am passionate, and the whole purpose of me making my own channel was to teach people how to stay calm and confident in a crisis. So many people lose their ability to think rationally, their ability to engage in higher order thinking skills and critical thought when they are panicked, when they are worried, when they are stressed, or when they are in shock. And we need to try to hold on to as much of that logical, rational thinking. When you're panicked, you're not making good decisions, and a crisis will absolutely put most of us into a panic. So now, before you're in a full-blown panic all the time, we want to start practicing a technique, whichever technique or techniques work for you, that will let your brain know it's time to center and focus. Now, some of these are going to be more towards religious and spiritual techniques, and some of these are totally secular. Take what works for you. I'm not here to prescribe any kind of religious dogma, but some of these are intended to come from a religious background. I happen to be a Christian myself, but use what works for you. Do not take this as prescriptive, rather as an offering of many different resources. Let's jump into it. All right, the first technique I want to talk about are different methods of prayer, whatever that means to you. You can be praying to a deity figure, you can be praying to the universe in general, you can be praying to Auntie Joe who's in heaven. I don't really care. That's not what this is about. What it is about, though, is the practice of praying, which is slightly different than meditation, and we are going to get to meditation in a second. Now, I have a couple of different recommendations for types of prayer that I find especially useful when we're talking about dealing with a crisis situation. Please remember that we are specifically creating a practice, a habitual practice, okay? You're gonna keep doing this regularly. That's going to train your brain to move from panic, back into our rational thinking skills, okay? When we're in a panic mode, we're down here, we're in our limbic system, we're in our reptilian brain that's all about survival. We wanna calm that down and get back into our rational higher order thinking skills. Now, the first one is to recite specific pre-written prayers. Now, these are prayers you could write yourself. These are prayers that could come from your Holy Scriptures. These are prayers that could come from a prayer book. If you are looking for some prayer book recommendations, if you are not particularly religious, this Earth Prayers book has a lot of different prayers, and you could mark 2 or 3 that are your particular go-to. That way your brain knows, oh, if I'm saying this prayer, it's time to calm down. It's time to focus. It's time to get to business, okay? You're training your brain that this is a trigger. Oh, I'm panicking, but I know this prayer. And I know that when we do this, we're going to turn back and start focusing. So you could use prayers. Another kind of prayer book this is of course a Christian one, but there are Jewish prayer books. There are all kinds of prayer books from your particular tradition. This happens to be the common book of prayer from the UK. I'm not Anglican, I just happen to have that. So, those are some resources if you wanted to use pre-written prayers as your trigger, okay? This is to help you ground and focus. A second prayer option is one that would be very familiar to some and very foreign to others, and that is prayer beads. Now, this happens to be a rosary that I was given 20 years ago by a Catholic friend of mine. I'm not Catholic, I'm Presbyterian, but any kind of tactile prayer beads, y'all, you could even use a bracelet like this, okay, where you can push the beads. Do you see that? Any kind of tactile engagement, you can use Muslim prayer beads, you can use Buddhist prayer beads, you can use your pearl necklace that you got from Great Aunt Joe, right? Whatever it is, it's the tactile nature of turning every single one of of these beads into a prayer. And as you are stimulating that tactile nature, it becomes soothing, it becomes calming, and it allows you to come to focus a lot better. There's a meditative quality to prayer beads, which is why a lot of secular folks who are in the Buddhist community and the Zen community will use them as a part of their practice. But any kind of that tactile process can really, again, recenter and refocus and get you out of the panic mode and down into a calmer, rational thinking mode. All right, so prayer isn't really your jam. It's just a little too spiritual for you, and that's not what you like, or you already have a prayer life and that's not what you want to mix with your calming strategies. That's cool. I've got a couple of meditation techniques that might also work for you. The first one is visual meditation. This is where you can light a candle or look at an intricate piece of pottery or a hole in the wall. Look at the same visual cue every time and allow that to draw your total and complete focus. So a candle flame, for instance, your entire focus will be drawn to the flame, how it dances, how it moves, what the colors are, until all of that panic, all of that worry, all of that stress is kind of pushed out because you're totally and wholly focusing on the candle flame or on an intricate painted dinner plate or on the spackling on your ceiling. Whatever it is you choose the same visual cue and you return to it again and again and again. And you'll find that you can drop into that meditative state, that calmer, rational state faster as you practice with the same visual cue. The key here is to have a visual cue that you can use over and over. The second kind of meditation that I think is very accessible for most people, no matter your ability level, unless you have trouble breathing, is breathwork. Breathwork you can do anywhere. You don't need any external stimuli. You don't need anything. You just control your breathing. And this is very good if you feel physically panicking to start practicing breathwork. Now, the two breathwork modes that I personally use and I would recommend because they're great for beginners is what we call box breathing or 4x4 breathing. And that's where you inhale for a count of 4, you hold for a count of 4, you exhale for a count of 4, you hold for a count of 4. So you basically, right, inhale, hold, out, hold. Right? You're creating a box, okay? You're breathing in the pattern of a box. So inhale 4, hold 4, exhale 4, hold 4. And it's called box breathing. You could do this for 5, 6, 8, if that's better for you, but 4x4 I think is the best way to do it. So that's one technique. Another technique that I think is more relaxing, but a little bit more challenging if you're someone who has trouble with lung capacity is a 4x8, in which you inhale for 4, and then you exhale for 8. Now that's going to bring you into a deeper state of relaxation and it's going to work much more quickly. So this could be something that you employ when you're physically feeling panicked. You can always take breathwork with you, no matter what you're doing or where you're going, which is a great benefit of breathwork. Okay, my last recommendation as far as meditation techniques is mantras. Now mantras might not be very comfortable for you, particularly if you come from certain religious backgrounds that don't use mantras, but mantras are just repeated words or phrases that you use as you focus in your attention. Now you might say these out loud, or they might just be something you repeat in your own brain, but it could be something like peace, love, hope, joy, right? Those could become mantras, but you could also use longer mantras like I am focused and calm, I am focused and calm, I am focused and calm, or mantras of other languages that are traditional to specific meditation practices. I am not familiar with those, so you would need to look them up, but anything like that, God is good and I am safe, or something like that. A very short, repeatable phrase or word that really becomes a focal point of your attention. Again, the more calming the phrase or the more comforting the phrase, the faster we're going to click in to that calming space. We're going to come out of our panic and we're going to get focused on what we need to focus on. Now, my last set of recommendations are embodied practices. This is for our kinesthetic folks. This is for people for whom the idea of sitting and praying or meditating is just not gonna work for them. These are some different techniques that might work for you. The first one is yoga or any posturing kind of practice. When you are training your body to do certain physical practices, you are going to have your brain get cued in that when we do this, we are focused and calm. When I, raise my hands like this for 10 seconds, I'm focused and calm, or whatever it is. Now, there are definitely some different positions that you can do, like standing with your arms out and focusing on gratitude and what you're receiving from the universe. There are ways to have your arms above your head where you're striving for something. What are you reaching for? Or when you're folded over, kind of limp and letting your body hang, what are you letting go? Those are 3 non-yoga practices that are fairly easy to do regardless of your ability level. You can, of course, do these sitting if standing's challenging, but doing an embodied practice, again, these practices are meant to last about 3 to 5 minutes. We're not talking about long extended periods. They are going to trigger your panicking brain to move from panic mode, stress mode, shock mode, whatever, into focused, grounded, working mode. Another recommendation for embodied practice is a walking meditation where you take a walk around your property if that's possible, and you just try to focus on the process of walking. What do you see? What do you hear? How are you breathing? What's around you? And you hopefully can walk the same path. That might not be available to you, but the practice of a walking meditation. Some people can actually do the same thing when they're like doing dishes or folding laundry. The key here though is to find the same path, the same trigger that can help you get to that mode faster, because we're not doing this just for stress relief generally. We're doing this specifically to move from panic into focus. The final technique I'm going to offer is another embodied technique, and this one may or may not be popular depending upon your particular preferences, and that is singing. Singing is an embodied practice where if you sing really loudly, you're actually filling your diaphragm and your chest, and you can actually feel the vocal performance, the noise, the vibrations in your body. And if you have a hymn, a song, a chorus, a prayer, a phrase, that can absolutely feel like an embodied way of driving focus out of your panic mind and into first your body in a really physical way, but also then into your focus, into your groundedness. With all of these techniques, the point is not that you're going to have a long extended meditation process or a prayer life. The point is not to carve out 20 minutes when the world is falling down to commune with your spirit. No, the point here is to bring your panicking mind, your limbic system, down from panic and into grounded focus. You don't make good decisions when you're panicking. You don't think logically when you're in a state of shock. So the goal here is to create triggers now before the big crisis comes, the big panic comes, that you can then rely on and hold when the panic sets in. You can go, okay, I feel really upset. I feel really anxious. I'm going to bring it down with my mantras. I'm going to bring it down with an embodied practice. Sometimes you're going to mix and match these. If you're feeling really physically panicky, you might need to use an embodied practice. Something as simple as pressing your hands together like this or like this as hard as you can so you feel the muscles in your pectorals tightening, and then releasing can actually help you feel like you're relaxing some physical panic. That is a tool you could use along with reciting a mantra or reciting a prayer or singing a song. Whatever works for you, whatever combination or something totally different that works for you is something that you should employ. The key here is to start using it. Start using it regularly. Start doing a 2-minute a day practice, right? 2 minutes a day, you set a timer and you say your prayer, you sing your song, you do your yoga pose, whatever it is. Start doing it now so that your brain forms the habit of, oh, we do this thing, we get calm and focused. Right now, there is a lot that we can panic about. There's some really legitimate reasons that you might be experiencing worry, doubt, panic, fear, and overwhelm. But we don't want to make decisions from that place. And when we make decisions from the place of worry, fear, panic, and overwhelm, we don't make good ones. So I hope that you find a practice, whatever that is, in whatever flavor it comes from, that you are able to employ on a regular basis, daily if possible, but multiple times a week, as you train your brain to move from crisis down into calm. I want you to be calm and confident in any crisis. I want you to lead and not follow. I want you to be empowered and not powerless. And this is one way to train your brain to stay in that empowerment place, even when the world is going to heck and handbasket. Friends, comment down below and let me know, do you have any practices that you would recommend? Are there things that you're doing now to help train your brain to stay calm and confident in a crisis? I would love to hear your recommendations. Also, if you would like to have any of my free resources or you'd like to buy my e-course on getting together an entire month of food storage organized and ready to go in just a weekend, no fear and no fluff, you can find links for everything down below. You can also find me over on Instagram and a Facebook group, all totally free, where you can keep the conversation going. We are a supportive community, and it is my love and my hope and my joy to help you stay calm and confident in any crisis. I hope you all stay safe and well. I hope you don't have any panicking. And until the next video, happy prepping.